At the table is what I've titled this one. We're in Luke 14. It's that time again, right? Thanksgiving. And just wanted to tell you from the bottom of my heart, I hope you guys have a wonderful week and you enjoy this time with your family and friends. It's an opportunity to get together and maybe have some deep conversation, maybe have some laughs that you'll remember for many years to come. Of course, a time to sit around and be thankful and thoughtful about what God has done, what He's doing, what is yet to be revealed to us. It's a good time of the year to be together. I know not everyone is following, and by the way, it's okay, our reading plan. Our reading plan that we've offered to the congregation, especially for those of you that are sometimes struggling with what do I study. And so I hope that this has been beneficial. If you've been doing that, then you've gone over Luke 14 several times this week. Billy read that for us this past Sunday and shared some thoughts. And I don't need to expound on that. I don't have anything of value to add. I'm only wanting to remind us, if you've not been in Luke 14 since last Sunday, Jesus was invited to a Pharisee's home. And as Billy pointed out, it really is good to put yourself there, awkward situation, because Jesus begins to observe and is kind of critical of things that are happening. Now, he's doing this because he's wanting to help them see themselves betterly so they can change these things. But for example, he's noticing how people are taking the seat of honor. And he's saying, you really shouldn't do that. You should take the lowest seat. I mean, imagine you take the seat of honor and then you're asked to sit in a lower position. We're not talking about chairs here. We're talking about how we view ourselves in humility. But as he continues to look at this meal, as Billy pointed out, he realizes who has this Pharisee invited. And he said, another thing is that when you throw a feast like this, you really shouldn't invite your friends, your families, the rich people that can pay you back. Maybe invite those people that don't typically get the invitation. And then you have this individual that says, and again, Billy pointed out, "Blessed is everyone who will eat bread in the kingdom of God." And Jesus is like, yeah, you're not getting it either. Now, I wanted to share something really quickly because it's going to make sense. I've titled this one "At the Table." There was a Jewish belief that the Messianic heir would also come with a great feast and a great banquet. Whenever he's talking about this individual, blessed is everyone who will eat bread in the kingdom, he's not thinking of a spiritual kingdom. He's thinking of a physical kingdom. This also makes sense why Jesus will use a lot of parables talking about a banquet, because it resonates with the people. And meals are important, and it's not just, it's always, meals are important to everybody. But in that time, meals are important. Our Lord instituted a unity meal among His church, which we will partake in. See, they have significant meanings. And so then what Jesus does is, and they're just as a side note, they're like Revelation 19. Do you remember the scene where you have the lamb? And then here's the marriage of the lamb to the bride. And it's talking about the honor bestowed on all of those who are at the meal, the celebration meal of the lamb and the bride. So I just wanted to say this was a thing to the Jewish people. They had this idea of a meal, a banquet that will come. Blessed is everyone who gets to eat bread at that meal. And then Jesus says, there actually was a meal. Thank you for saying that. It's like, let me work off that. Here's a meal. Master throws a meal and sends his servant out, and everyone's making excuses. So he says, well, then just go out anywhere and have the people come in. But the people that I originally invited, they're not welcome to this. There's also a parallel teaching of this in Matthew 20, I think it's 21, 22. And in that one, it is a king, and it's time to throw a banquet for his son, his marriage. And he's inviting and people aren't coming. And not only that, they take the servants who are inviting them and they kill them. And Jesus says, and what the Father did, the King Father, is he wiped all those people out. And then he sent an invitation to everyone who would come. Look at this, Matthew chapter 8. I'm going to talk about this meal just a little bit with you. Just wanted you to get your eyes on it. When I talk about Jesus brings this up, I'm kind of giving my evidence here. So in this passage, we had a centurion, right? In verse 5 of Matthew 8. When he had entered Capernaum, a centurion came forward to him, appealing to him, "Lord, my servant is lying paralyzed at home, suffering terribly." He said to him, "I will come and heal him." But the centurion replied, "Lord, I'm not worthy to have you come under my roof, but only say the word and my servant will be healed. For I too am a man under authority with soldiers under me. I say to one, 'Go,' and he goes, and to another, 'Come,' and he comes, and to my servant, 'Do this,' and he does it." And when Jesus heard this, he marveled. There's around a handful of times, by the way, in the scriptures where Jesus marvels and where Jesus becomes indignant. Really good studies. This is one of the times that he marvels. "Truly I tell you, with no one in Israel have I found such faith. I tell you, many will come from east and from west and recline at table with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven, and will be thrown out to the outer darkness. In this place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth." And to the centurion Jesus said, "Go, let it be done for you as you have believed." And the servant was healed at that very moment. Now see, I could read with you also Matthew chapter 13. We could have gone to that passage. And Jesus is going to talk about, again, those coming from the east, the south, the north, and the west, and recline at table. I could take you to these passages, and you can perceive in there that he's talking to someone outside of the Jewish nation. But passages like this confirm it. He's saying, I'm telling you, I've not seen faith like this among my own people. In this messianic banquet, let me tell you who's going to be there. People from the east, the south, the north, and the west. Let me tell you who's going to be there. Your forefathers, Abraham, Jacob, Isaac, but not you. We will look and we will say, where are you, the sons, and you're not there. Because I'm inviting you to recline at table with me, and you're not coming. Ugh. But the centurion, he finds it. Well, so what I want to do now is I want to take you back to past Luke 14. And in Luke 17, I thought about this passage. Here's this centurion, and he's telling Jesus, I know what it is to I have authority. But he also says, and I'm also under authority. And when it comes to our relationship, I am under your authority. And I believe just as I have told someone, go and do this, and they'll do it, Lord, I'm not worthy to have you come into my home. So if you just say it, I know it'll be done. He had a John the Baptist faith, the man that said, you know, when I think about Jesus, I tell you, I'm not even worthy to untie the strap on his sandal. He had a John kind of heart. Well, I wanted to read this passage with you this morning, not because I'm trying to damper the mood, but to appreciate what it is to be invited to the table. Because see, in Luke 17, Jesus said in verse 7, will any one of you who has a servant plowing or keeping a sheep say to him when he has come in from the field, come at once and recline at table? Will he not rather say to him, prepare supper for me, and dress properly, and serve me while I eat and drink, and afterward you will eat and drink? Does he thank the servant because he did what was commanded? So you also, when you have done all that you were commanded, say, we are unworthy servants. We have only done what was our duty. That is also from the mind and from the heart of Jesus. It is not unloving. It is right. It is correct. It is just. But he invited me to the table. I mean, I want you to imagine maybe going back to their time, and a servant is blessed. I want you to imagine what this conversation would have looked like. A man is blessed to be able to serve the king. And it's his first day back home, and his family's like, what was it like? It was incredible. His house was incredible. The food was incredible. But you got to see him. I saw him. You saw him? I saw him. I was like this. I handed him bread. I saw him. What did he look like? Like up close. What was it like? Oh, this is crazy. And that'll be this tale. Hey, our dad got to serve the king. And it's the story. But what happens whenever the dad comes home and he says, I'm not serving the king anymore? Oh, what happened? No, what's going on? I'm sitting at the table now. Well, what do you mean? Yeah, he's invited all of us. We're just, well, what'd you do? Like, pack your things up, kids. We're going to the king's table. It's crazy. That's mind-boggling. And here it is. And then as I read on, I thought this is very fitting. On the way to Jerusalem, so I'm still in Luke 17, he was passing along between Samaria and Galilee. And he entered a village, and he was met by 10 lepers who stood at a distance. And y'all know that because they had to. They had a contagious disease. They've got to stay away from people. You remember this. There's a whole law in it. It's a big ordeal. Unclean. They have to cover themselves unclean. You got to stay away from me. They see Jesus, lifted up their voices saying, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. And when he saw them, he said to them, go and show yourselves to the priests. So Jesus is what's going to happen. Again, you probably know this, but so a miracle is going to occur and he's going to cleanse them. But in order for them to be back with their people and in the community, they need to go to the priests. It needs to be confirmed. They need to go through the process and be clean. And then they get to come home. I mean, really come home. Guys, this is what it means for them. They're going home. Well, as they went, they were cleansed. That's incredible. Wouldn't you have loved to have seen that? What did that look like? Then one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back, praising God with a loud voice. And I can hear him. Can you hear him? And he fell on his face at Jesus' feet, giving him thanks. Now he was a Samaritan. Then Jesus said, were not 10 cleansed? Where are the 9? Was no one found to return and give praise to God except for this foreigner? And he said to him, rise and go your way. Your faith has made you well. And first of all, I'm just in a weepy mood today. I don't know what's going on. This happens to me. So this week, I'm going to lose it on this one. I was thinking about my baby girl, Cadence. And I was sitting on the couch and I had a pillow out. And her back was on the pillow. And her legs were up against my neck. And I'm sitting there going, like she's kicking me. And she starts to laugh for the first time. And as she's laughing, she's doing like this, it's like the straw sound, like, It's like our vocal cords in her body is all trying to coordinate because it's like all kind of getting it together for the first time. And she starts laughing. And Jordan's like, she starts recording this thing. And she'll hear herself in it. You can even see like it'll frighten her, and then she'll get tickled. And we're, it's just this beautiful moment. But I couldn't find it for a while, so I stayed up that night, and I was trying to find it on a hard drive. And I'm looking at all these videos. And I get to bed. And now I'm talking to God, and I'm like, all these memories that you've blessed me with.
all these moments and their good health that I appreciate. None of my kids have had any serious health issues. And I've been healthy, and their mom's been healthy, and these kind of things. And I'm going through like how many already we've had and how quickly time goes by. And then I begin to think about how you are one person among billions of people that have existed. And I begin to feel even more small in my prayer. Like, truly, who am I? I will come and I will go, and I will not be remembered. Now, you got to understand, when I'm saying these things and I'm thinking them to God, this is not like a woe is me. This is not, this is like a genuine, they're facts. They're facts, which really extol and separate God for who he is. And I'm thinking, God, you know the story and the memories of billions of people. And I find myself in prayer just simply telling him, I cannot comprehend you. You are too great for me. And you think about all these things that God is, these things that are on his shoulders, if you will. It's incredible. I wanted to leave you with just a few things. Really hope you have a good week. I hope you enjoy this time with your family. That you value the person that's across from you. Because they have a story just like you have a story. And they have memories just like you have memories. And they have weaknesses just like you have weaknesses. And they need forgiveness just like you need forgiveness. I also want to remind you that you don't know if you're going to see that person the next year. You never know. Want to remind you that you are like me. I'm not unique. Most people aren't going to know who you are. You will come, you will go. Which is why that person across the table is so special. Because the little time in history that God blesses you with is very finite. And it's only a few people. And those are the people that you experience this life with. Do you see how special they are? You experience life with them. They make up your stories. They make up your happiness. And sometimes they make up your stresses and your trials, and that's okay, but you walk it with those folks. Which also means to forgive each other. And if there needs to be a hard conversation, by the way, if that person needs help and they need to know God more, love on them. That's one thought. Another one, this is such an obvious one, and I am talking about the physical realm. You think about all the good things that God has given us. And boy, we don't have enough time to go through them. You think about the idea that God has invited you to his spiritual table. And I am an unworthy servant. I would have been blessed just to serve him his bread and his wine. But I'm sitting at his table. That's beyond what I can articulate. And then the last thing I just wanted to say is that let us also take these blessings and not just thank him in our prayers around the table, but let's show our appreciation for who he is and what he's done and the lives that we live and the truth that we share. Because I think that's the greatest way to honor God, to really articulate to him, whenever I say, Lord, I love you, and whenever I say that I thank you, and whenever I say I've been pondering on your word and trying to make it impact and prick my heart, Lord, let me show that by how I'm living my life. And won't that honor him? I hope you have a wonderful week and that we thank God for all the good that he is doing and that he is going to do. Let's stand and sing praises to him.